There is a term, let me get my little thing here, more a little robust. There is a term called front of the house. Is the stage manager or assistant manager is one person's in the back of the house and someone is sitting way in front of the house, all the way in back in the front of the house. And they communicate back and forth. And the old way was a little telephone. If the guy that's sitting in the last row sees something wrong on stage, he calls the stage manager up in there, and it's corrected. Costume's out of place, this out of place, lighting's not right. Or if something goes wrong. The front of the house today is right, same thing. A person is sitting all the way back, looking at what is on stage. Lighting, he controls the lighting. He shuts off a light here, shuts off a light there, and if it's a scenery change, he can control. If it goes up and down, he can control everything. He has full control of everything on the stage. Now there's somebody else also back there. It's a person that controls the microphone and earpiece. And why do you want to control the microphone? Because today everybody has a little microphone and an earpiece, and they cost money. And the guy at the front of the house controls everybody's speaking and hearing. And if it happens to be the drummer, if it's a musical, singing and that, he controls all the microphones to all the instruments. And he controls tapping in and increasing or decreasing the sound. Depends on how the main actor there, the star, the singer, is doing. In theater, actually, people walk pretty well fixed on a theater, and he controls every actor's microphone and earpiece. And basically what he's telling the guy is, he can even tell the person on stage a line he's saying. If the guy says, like that, oops. Because also these days there's a video cameras on the people on the stage, and they're looking at little monitors. And now if this is fed to a recorder, you can record things. Now if there's LEDs, now they're usually an LED lighting system, in the windows, right, people walking in the background can do quite easy. But he controls everything, not like it used to be. I was in Steppenwolf Theater. I was there under Kevin Regan. I was his crew for when I was there for 6 months, a year. It was 2 years, besides working a regular job. One of the things you had to learn was lines. Richard, you're going to be in the Richard, you got to learn those lines, because except for replacing Sinise or someone else, you may find yourself on stage, because once we start, there's nothing for you to do but sit backstage and be quiet. So you may as well sit up on stage and be quiet. You can be the butler walking in. Sir, we happen to have is here to see you. That you can do. Right. A whole set of lines you got the wrong person. But I can be the dummy sitting on the stage. Now I can be the dummy sitting on the stage. Okay, if I have to say something, it's here, but I have the earpiece and telling. Okay, Richard, you're on. Say these words. Say these words. And, yeah. And then they shut the microphone off. And then I just sit there as a dummy on stage. In movies, it's a little bit different because you're the person in the background. You're the prop. You're the prop that just happens to be walking. And being paid, hopefully, being paid. And I don't wear an earpiece. I don't wear that thing unless I have to say something. But they have more intelligent and people really get big bucks to say something. If you're in the movies and you say something, that means you're paid extra money. If you're just a prop in the background doing blah 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 like in a pub or a bar, then you're just a blah 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 in the background, or you don't say anything. Right. Preferably you don't say anything, and they just do post in if it's video. Definitely if it's film, they want the standard background Western sounds. Okay, yes, you can buy all that. You just have the dummy, and a lot of things is that person doesn't even have to be back there. You can put them in post. You can literally take a person and in movies and put them in post. Put them in as sitting at a table back there. You can put tables back there. You can put people back there. And you can duplicate the people, because unless you're looking for it, you're not going to see it. That's one of these things. And you can put product placement in the background. Which is the only thing. But remember, Shakespeare said we're all actors upon that thing, and this actor likes to be behind the camera, not in front of the camera. And that's where I've always sat. If I can do it, I will not do it. I worked for organizations where as a secretary for a little church and that, but I don't really, which I have. Wow, you're going to be our speaker. You're going to interpretation in the scriptures. Yes, sirree. You're going to get up there and you're going to do your thing amongst the congregation. Really? But Dad, really? Yes. You have to look alive. Oh, Dad, please not. Mom, help me here. Oh, I'm sorry, son. But you have to pull your thing. And so I bite my lower lip. In school, I froze. I realized as I started playing instruments, you're sitting there on the piano, playing, and then you forget. But you can play that on the side. I can play it on the side. But when everybody's looking at me, I can't. I freeze. I've dropped out of classes in school when the teacher says you're going to be standing up there. I had a master class in beer making, and I fluffed it. I had everything written down in front of me what I was going to say. I still fluffed it, and I still remember it. That's the problem. I remember my mistakes, and they come back to haunt me. In theater, it's in film, you can edit it out, but it's a theater with a couple hundred people looking at you, and I can't do much. And they say, well, I'm sitting there with the words on my fan. Oh, Juliet, Juliet, where art thou, Juliet? Okay. Anything beyond that point on Shakespeare, I fluff it. Of course, now I would have an earpiece there and say, Juliet, Juliet, where art thou, Juliet? It was some of the emotional feelings, so somebody way in the back can actually get my thing. That's theater for you, and that's how Richard fluffs all the time. But in theater, Shakespeare wrote the words with a good director edging me on. I can play that actor and I can play the words. Now, of course, the advantage of that is me like this. As one of the actors said, I'm in costume. They're not seeing me. They're seeing the costume. They're seeing what I'm wearing. They're seeing the makeup. They don't see me. I don't exist. The character I portray exists. And if you were in costume, maybe you got a better time to do that. You know, they were looking at the funny hat or the funny shoes. That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at me. They're looking at the character I project. And you, being a character, they're going to look at you as character. So, wear a flower in your lapel. Wear a necktie. They're going to look at the necktie. They're not going to look at you. Which I said, maybe I should wear a bow tie. Yes, wear a bow tie. They're going to look at the bow tie. They're not going to look at you. They're going to remember the bow tie. They're not going to remember you. You don't really exist. Nobody really cares about you, but they care about the bow tie. They care about the flower. The handkerchief in that coat. Right. That's what they're looking at. They're not looking at you. You could be a total idiot. But they only remember this. Or they remember the total idiot with the bow tie. But that's it. You know, that's as Shakespeare said. You're sitting in a costume being an idiot on stage, and they're remembering not you, but they're remembering the idiot on stage in the costume. And the same thing on the regular stage, as one of my professors would say. You're going to be doing this part today. I said, well, gee, I set up the lighting, right? Yeah, but we don't. We need an extra person that looks nice, tall, and like a tree. Oh, they remember me as a tree. That's, remember yourself as a child in these stupid costumes right. And you understand those little lines you speak, and your mommy and daddy are out there clapping, your brothers and sisters saying, oh, goody, 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 goody. They're pretty well filling up the place because nobody else wants to see the stupid play. But that's what they is. As my father said, they're not going to remember you. They're going to remember their words and that. Otherwise, there's so much information they're getting, they're not. It's like a commercial. You're seeing these sets of series of things. You see the commercials on this channel? Oh yeah, I saw the commercial the other day. I go through my channel here, and I'm looking at this info commercial shows up, which I'm gonna get something on Scrooge. Info commercial shows up, and I'm looking at this thing, and it goes on and on and on. You figure, you got a minute here. Oh no, the guy's talking for an hour. What's he selling? I don't know. So I just let him go on, listening to this stuff. And he has a pitch there. And he is pitching this stuff. Do you know that Adolf Hitler used to put 2-hour speeches or 3-hour speeches? Okay. And he would speak. Then he would hit a note. And this was a lot of practice, that if is not what people would react to. And then he would make hit a part of this little speech. He would emphasize something with his hands and that thing, and and the crowd would woo, and then it would go down, and it just rambles on again, and then he would hit another one, woo, and by the last of that thing, the guys really got the crowd whipped up. He would hit for the last part of it. He would emphasize something, and the crowd would go wild. Would the crowd remembers the first 5 minutes, the first 30 minutes? Nope. Nah. He would hit on points that would appeal to the masses. This group, that group. And he would just whip them up. And you find out Fidel Castro used to do the same thing. Anybody remember Fidel Castro's speeches? No. Dictator speeches, Mussolini speeches. Well, they got them all on video, or not film, but film. But the masses basically don't remember what he was saying. He was glorifying Italy and the glories of his dictatorship. And yes, now you got that thing. Your politicians, as I said, YouTube kills them. Because somebody's out there with a little cell phone and recording all this stuff, and the batteries can really go a long time, and you can really record a person's face and facial interest, and the guy can make big mistakes, and you can almost upload it live. Well, sure thing. They do upload it live, and they have 100,000 viewers, instantaneous. And hey, YouTube, we're going to give them a silver platinum about this. That's a really nasty for politicians at YouTube or online, because the guy, the dictatorship is out there saying the glorious to the country and everything else, and Putin's out there, the glorious to the country, and you got all these people with cell phones getting every word he does, that thing. And now you can almost, you will have a hard time. They block everything, but it still gets out. Whatever Putin says, it gets on the internet. If they can't go straight west, it goes to somewhere else, which is shipped somewhere else, It winds up into China. And China, which has a closed society, it doesn't make any difference. It's within an hour, it's seen on the planet, and it's being broadcast everywhere. But Putin is, the thing about Putin is that he chooses his words very carefully. The old KGB, they taught him to choose your words very carefully. That you're going to appeal to this group of people, that group of people, and you want to make sure that we're attacking those Nazis over there. So the president of the Ukraine is a Jew. We don't tell you that. He's a head of the Gestapo, the SS, ruthless Nazi he is. Right. Let's get away from it. And of course, his front of the house people controls every word that's seen, every word that's heard. You better know it. They don't want a cough being heard by anybody. That's the front of the house for that. And if you control that, you can control everything else. Now, I've heard that big stars just released a song, and they don't want it to leave the place. They have the ability to scramble recorders. Nah, it's just a rumor. But the front of the house does control everything. Did I ever work a board? Did I ever make mistakes on a board? Let's put it this way. I don't want to touch that. I may know about it. I may know about this. I may know about that. But really, that's our professional people. The front of the house people really know their stuff, and it takes time to get up to that level. And the old saying, you really want a professional involved in the front of the house controlling those boards. Because if you get a person like me who may understand something about that or do understand something about that, I'm not quick enough. The guy who makes the fluff on the stage, under his breath, when he's done speaking a line, you lower the microphone. Okay? Don't shut it off. You just lower. So he doesn't cough or burps. It clears his throat. Yeah, that's what you don't want to do. But as I said before, front of the house controls everything. Except for if I was on stage. Now what's that idiot going to do?